What's going on there, YouTubers, gamers and hobbyists? It's P&Q time. It's Monday. Well, it is when this goes up because I'm recording this on Saturday night to be precise. It's pitch black outside. It's a good job I got the lighting in here. That's all I can say. So yeah, why am I doing it at night? Well, it's that time of month again when my wife goes out with her work, well, not work colleagues, but colleagues that are like kind of self-employed as well and that kind of thing, and they have a kind of a night out to pat themselves on the back and treat themselves, and why not? So gives me all this extra time to do stuff, which is really cool. Not that I wouldn't be able to do it anyway. I would get it done over the weekend at some point, but it'd be usually during the day, that kind of thing. Anyway, enough rambling about that. Okay, so this is P&Q. If you've just tuned in, this is the question and answer series where you get to ask me questions or make comments and I'll respond the following week. And I got the hand of death. It's perspective. Gigantor hand. Sorry, I've had a bit much sugar, I think. Right, we'll calm down. Right. Now, you can do this one of two ways. You can email me at miniwarzone@gmail.com. Link in the video description below. Just remember to put P&Q at the beginning of your email, and then I'll address it on this show. Otherwise, just put your comment or your question in the comments section below, and I will respond following week. Okay, fair dues. Right. Okay, on with it. And there's one email this week, and I'll read it first. It says, "Hi Pete, you said before that you thought that the Wolfen were cool. Yes, they are very cool. Could you elaborate a little on that? And also, could you give your thoughts on the whole imbalance of 40k thing?" And then in brackets it says, "Sorry if you've answered this before. Keep on rocking, dude. Thanks." Smiley face. Yeah, I think I've mentioned imbalance before, and don't worry about asking questions I've answered before. Hey, it's better to have a question duplicated than no question at all. Gives me something to talk about. Otherwise I'm just floundering along with nothing to talk about, really. So let's let's work forwards. Elaborate on why I think the Wolfen are cool. Well, they've got the whole Dark Angels thing going on, haven't they, where some of the fellow Astartes think they're good, and it's good that they've come back to help fighting against the demons and all that kind of thing, and others are kind of perceiving them as some new evil threat. Are they good? Are they evil? And let's sort that out. So they kind of got that thing going on, and they can't really help it. They are what they are, but they look really cool. I love the look of them. Absolutely amazing. They're like werewolves in the making, It's really cool. You get into the Horde Circle Orberus kind of era there, like in that kind of area of modelling going on. There'll be gigantic wolves next, like on two legs. It'd be cool. At least I hope they will. So that's that. Yeah. So I just think they're kind of a bit, I don't know, misunderstood, and they kind of, thanks for helping, now go away, that kind of thing. But yeah, and the Dark Angels, if you're anyone that's into Dark Angels knows how misunderstood they are. So yeah, that's why that is. The whole imbalance thing, well, I've said it many times, 40k is an imbalanced game. Oh, excuse me, I'm going to can't help it. And it's got to be imbalanced. Otherwise, it's just a large game of chess, right? And if you think about it as a game of chess, okay, so think of the game of chess. Yeah. Okay, let's take a look at the armies. We have the White Army. We have the Black Army. They're identical. Just who goes first, really, which will be the White. Okay. So we've brought out some new type knights for your chess army. Well, I don't need them, I've already got knights. Some new pawns? No, I've already got them. What about this new piece that's never been done before? Well, I don't need it. It's not in the thing. I've got a chess set army. If 40k was perfectly balanced, there'd be no need to... You get your army and be no need ever to expand, and GW would go out of business like that. No need, they wouldn't sell them any more models, they'd collapse. You've got to be imbalanced. It has to have imbalance in order to keep going as a business. One army's got to be at the top, one army's going to be at the bottom. It's got to be, and then it's going to change. Then there might be crossovers, and then everybody will eventually get a go at being the top dog in whatever edition, whether you're a melee army or a shooting army, and it's going to come around. It'll be like swings and roundabouts. But during that time you will have expanded your army in such a way as to have made GW loads and loads of business, and that's just one person. So imagine that happens to everybody. But like I say, if it was balanced, and here's the problem War Machine has got, it's quite a balanced game. It's not perfectly balanced, but it's fairly balanced. It's like I've got my Hordes army. Now once you got your main army 50 points saying, well, you don't really need to do anything else, really. Because it is what it is. And it's difficult to expand on those things. Whereas 40k, it's got the universe to expand in, and it can do anything. Anything can be imagined and brought to life in models. So yes, very, very cool. Have I ranted a bit much about that? Anyway. Well, that was the email, so we'll go on to the comments now. Oh, how's this coffee? I feel good because I've been getting a lot of painting done and loads of stuff done. That's cool. Very productive day for me today. Anyway, enough of that. On with comments left from last week, and we're starting with Heresy Productions. He says... We'll have to check out those villains slash monsters. That was from the question from last week. Next question. If you were a Tyranid Gaunt and were fortunate enough to be presented with a large lizard, chicken, or comparably sized mammal from the badger family, which would be your obviously preferred choice of cuisine? Lizard. Definitely lizard. I don't know. Chicken I've had, I know what it's like, and yeah, boring. Badger, that's cool, because I've never eaten a badger, but I've never eaten a lizard either. And whether or not, oh, my dehumidifier's just kicked in, so that's what that sound is. Whether or not whatever I ingest could then be turned into something else, like when I die as a gaunt and get re-ingested into some other Tyranid that goes around sucking up all the debris and turned into something else. I'd go for lizard because I'd like the lizard qualities to get into my hive. Those chameleonic qualities that I can imbue into my fellow hive Tyranids. I don't know. Scales, changing colours, and they just look cool. I think they're cool. Plus the reptiles, you know, get the whole reptile thing going, because I'm sure Tyranids would have come across a planet at some point where it had dinosaurs on it and things like that, and other reptiles, so you know, maybe they wiped out the dinosaurs, I don't know. Well, not on Earth obviously, but it would be on other... I've seen, I think it was an episode of Starship Voyager, or Star Trek Voyager, where it turned out that dinosaurs on Earth had actually evolved to intelligent life forms and gone off into deep space and were living on some other planet. It's very bizarre. I don't know how I got there. Still that sugar. Oh, and he says another, and there's the one I comment immediately after, says, and why? I think I've answered why. Lizard. Woo! Tabletop Warzone says, nice P&Q, mate. Of all the Primarchs, whom takes your fancy and why? That'd be Horus, because he was the first one really to become corrupted. Yeah, I don't know. I just something about him. The way he's described in the first couple of books, and how magnificent he is. I know they all are, the Primarchs, compared with like normal mortals, but the way he's described, Horus is described very magnificently. And I don't know, there's just something about Horus. Plus he started the whole Horus heresy thing, so Yeah, it would be Horus. Next page. The Dark Artisan says, "Nice one, Pete. If you were a character in the 40k universe, who would you be and why?" Character. Mephiston. It's got to be Mephiston because he's the Lord of Death and he just doesn't die. Well, he does, but lore-wise, he refuses to die. Mephiston, Lord of Death. Hooves of Doom says, "Hey Pete, nice chat. Do you have any plans to call your new facility by an official title?" Well, yes, it's called Mini Warzone. That is the name of the building, not just the channel. It's called Mini Warzone. Yeah, I mean, if ever I'm referring to it, if I'm talking to like my mum or something on the phone and she doesn't know what Mini Warzone is, I'll just say the studio. But to everyone else, my family and that, I'll just say, especially in my household, I'll say, "Oh, I'm just going out to Mini Warzone." Or they'll say, "Where are you off to? Mini Warzone?" Or "You'll be in Mini Warzone?" "Yes, I'm in Mini Warzone." It's called Mini Warzone. It's its own thing. It's got its own entrance. You don't have to come through the house to get to it. It's got its own side entrance, and it's totally independent, and that's cool. So yeah, that's that. Idic Beer says, "Good one, Pete. How many paid-for YouTube channels do you do, and who are they?" Well, I really pondered over this question. I wasn't sure how I was going to answer it, really. Or even if I was going to answer it. But yeah, it's a good question. Well, taking Patreon aside, I'm not going to mention people I support on Patreon. There's only a couple. And the reason for that is twofold, really. One, like I say, I can't afford to support everybody on Patreon. And some people have gone on to Patreon later than when I started with the others, and then you get the whole, why is he being patron to him and not me, and blah blah blah, and it all gets a bit, no, just draw a veil over that one. Suffice to say, it's good to choose a couple of channels, I think, and chuck them a couple of dollars every month. Cool. As far as proper actual paid YouTube channels, two really. One is Mini Wargamer J's channel called The Warp, and well, the other one is Mini Wargaming. Although you say the paid channel isn't actually YouTube, their free content is, and it's odd because they got the Vault. So I'm a Vault member, and I subscribe to that. So their videos on that go on Vimeo. It's not YouTube, but their free content goes on YouTube. I mean, this is all. I mean, they started before YouTube, I believe, or just as it was coming out. So they're kind of fortunate that they've got their own massive website, and it's all they can. They're very independent, and they don't need to rely on YouTube for their Vault. And that's good. That's great stuff. I think really they came out at just the right time. But Mini Wargamer J, I subscribe to him because I think he's got great content in the Vault, in the Warp, and it's growing all the time. Bearing in mind he's just one man, but he don't have to kick out the content. He really does, and it's good. I enjoy it. He really wants to make a go of things, in a professional manner, and I would like to contribute towards that, and it makes me feel good as well, knowing that I can do that, and that's great. I considered Beasts of War, although they don't they're more kind of, they do more like chit chat unboxing type affairs, and I don't know, there's a lot of them. That's not that that's a bad thing, but with mini wargaming there's not so many of them really, and you get to know them, you get invested in them as people and their character and their personality. And obviously Jay's just one man, so I know him, I know I like his personality and his character and his mannerisms. He seems like a really good guy, and so I know that. Whereas with someone like Beasts of War, that I don't know, I don't know what it is. They just seem to span, I don't know, just not quite doing it for me. You got to tick a lot of boxes for me to do this, to you know, subscribe to someone or to pay Patreon. You got to tick a lot of boxes, and if some of them aren't tickable, then I'm not going to. It's as simple as that. I hope that answers your question. Jamjar34 says, "Great PNQ, keep up the good work." Oh, and this is similar to Dark Artisan. If you could be any character in an army, who or what would you be and why? Slightly different to the Dark Artisan. He says, if you were a character in the 40k universe, who would you be and why? Jamjar says, who or what would you be and why? Well, I've done Mephiston, so now I'm going to do Old One Eye from the Tyranids, because again, he keeps coming back. He's a bit like the Rocky of the Tyranids. He just keeps getting up. Yeah, Old One Eye, the Tyranids, because he's just awesome. I love his lore, his fluff. It's great. You're going to see him in future videos. Okay, moving on. Warforge says, do you think the Primarch are going to come back in 40k? Yes, absolutely, definitely. I think the story of 40k is going to evolve and continue and move forwards. Definitely, definitely, definitely. No question. Absolutely doodly. As opposed to a game like War Machine Hordes, where it's just set, that is the game, it's there. I think 40k, by its very nature, is designed to evolve. So in the 41st millennium, I think we'll have the 42nd and the 43rd and the 44th. I think it'll go on to 50k, 60k, and just forever go on. I think so. Tattoo for you says, ha! I'll accept all of them as an answer because they are all best. What did I can't remember what I was talking about last time. Love the Star Wars painting behind you. Oh, that's over there, down there. I was painted by my daughter for me for Christmas. Yeah, she's cool. She's a good artist. I like what she does. She does work on cameras. I got another one by hers over there, the Wolf Man. What else do you say? How do you keep hobbying when the world bums you out? The hobby is my happy place normally, but last week life really got me. I just didn't want to do anything. How do I keep hobbying? Probably because there's so many aspects of the hobby that I can partake in. Like, for instance, it's not all just about picking up a model and a brush. Oh, dry brush. It's not all about picking up a model and a brush and painting and doing that. Or it's not all about setting up your table and throwing dice and flipping through rules and being really active and converting and doing all those wonderful things. Because you can do other things as well. You can... you've got the video making side of it as well. Which you can do other things. You can make videos about other things as well. You don't have to do videos for the hobby, that hobby anyway. You can do other videos. Seeing as you got your phone or camera or whatever out, you can film other stuff. Or if you're still doing hobby stuff, you can just read a book. There's an infinite, well, there's not an infinite, but there's a seemingly infinite number of books out there to read about the hobby, and magazines and, you know, generalistic hobby magazines and books. I like that, and I like some of the older ones as well. It's like that book you came across the other day that you ordered. It was like the one that got you into the hobby, which I happen to have as well. It's a great book, and stuff like that, or just browsing through eBay or wherever. Oh, excuse me, I'm gonna yawn again. What else? I sometimes see what happened with me was I used to do like all these energetic videos. Now when my energy goes, before I had the studio here, there were times when I physically couldn't paint or set up a board and play a game or whatever, and I couldn't read, I couldn't take it in, so I would just set up my laptop, sit on my bed and do what I used to call chill with Pete, and it's still there. I haven't done one in a long time, but and they were designed specifically for when I was unable to do anything else, and I just wanted to talk about my thoughts on the hobby, even if it was about, not that I don't think I ever did one, but even if it could have been about why I'm not doing anything, or things I'd like to do if I was able to, things like that. I used to get good views. So yeah, there's always something I can do. That's what I think anyway. There's always something I can do, or research, or sometimes I write down plans I want to do, or future shopping lists, or ideas for a narrative campaign I'd like to do in the future. That would be awesome. You know, write down a load of things I want to do for a schedule, what sort of tutorials I would like to try and make. I really don't know. But hopefully that's something to go. Another sip of coffee now, my voice is starting to get. Big Mech Danskull says, no, I do actually says. Big Mech Danskull says, do you ever find it difficult to keep up to date with everyone's videos? Oh yes. I've recently really started to struggle and wondered if it was just me. No, as my subscription list has expanded, I find it very difficult to keep up with everyone's videos. Although to be fair, my subscription list, not everybody puts up regular content. I kind of regulate through the ones that do put up regular content. They're my first choice of port of call for channels I go to look on the side. Have they put up a video? Yes. Oh great. Or it'll tell me or whatever. But usually I'm on it every day, most days, and certainly every evening. When I go to bed, I don't sleep. I read for a bit, and then I'm on YouTube till the early hours every day, without fail. You know, I've got my reasons, but that's what I do. That's how I come across some awesome new channels. And like, well, there's another channel I've subscribed to, so that'll be another one to slow me down. But yeah, definitely, mate, I struggle keeping up with everyone's videos. Sometimes I don't get around to them for a little while. You know, hope people don't think I'm being rude, but sometimes that's just the way it is. E-Tron says, hi there, if you did a 30k Legion, what would it be, and also will you be getting into 30k now the new plastic box game is out? Also any feedback on my channel would be great, as I've just started up and I'm a bit of a noob on doing a wargaming channel. All the best, E-Tron. If I did a 30k Legion, what would it be? Possibly Alpha Legion or Salamanders. Will I be getting into 30k now? New box? No, definitely not, because I just can't afford it. I mean, the box game is great, but at the moment that's the only plastic you can get for 30k. The rest of it is Forge World, and my wallet does not stretch that far. Definitely not. So I just can't do it. Love to, but I just can't. Any feedback on your channel? That seems fine to me. Just keep doing what you're doing. As I've said before, I've done a couple of videos on starting wargaming channel. Decide what you want to. This is me giving advice, but I'm not the biggest YouTube channel out there by a long stretch. But for what it's worth. Decide what you want to do. If you want to do a bit of everything, that's great. Or if we just want to do a small slice of it, tutorials or battle reports or unboxings, that kind of thing, do that. If you just want to do review tactical type stuff, do that. If you want to do a bit of this and a bit of that, do that. Do whatever makes you happy. I do what makes me happy. Sometimes doesn't get the most views, like, but although it's starting to pick up a bit now. For instance, my On the Bench series never used to get a lot of views, but it made me happy and it got me another model or two done or whatever it was I was working on, and I enjoyed doing it because I enjoy watching that type of video. But there wasn't many out there at the time. There's starting to get a few more now, which is great. Just watch other channels that you like the look of, would like to kind of emulate, maybe take, you like the way a certain channel does a certain aspect. Just see how they do it. Market yourself, get your logo, get it on all your videos, put thumbnails on, definitely have a playlist. Create a playlist of whatever you're doing. Say you're doing tutorials, make a playlist called tutorials and then put all your tutorial videos under there so that people can navigate and find what they're looking for far easier. Do a description on your about thing, because when I'm looking for a YouTube channel and I surf the internet most nights, nearly every night, browsing YouTube channels, I look at their about section first. If there isn't one, it depends on what mood I'm in. If I'm not in the right frame of mind, I won't even go any further. I'll go on to another one. I'll find something else. But if it says what it's about, and that's something that interests me, it's about wargaming, great. They do battle reports, great. They do this, they do that, great. I'll go into it and then I'll have a look. Do they have playlists? Is my next thing I look for. If they don't, I'm kind of like, oh, well, okay. If they do, I'm like, yay, great. That's another box ticked. And so yeah, do the best that you can do with the equipment that you've got. We all of us have to work with what we've got. But in that, try and get the best lighting you can, the best sound you can. Probably sound is more important than lighting up, because you have the best lit screen. But if you can't hear it, or someone's that's kind of frustrating if you can't hear what someone is saying. Some software, video editing software, the one I use, I know it does enable you to amplify I could amplify what I'm saying here so that I don't have to be as close to the microphone, things like that. There is a basic editor on YouTube. I think it really is basic, but you can do some stuff with it. Just practice, keep on making videos, keep on doing it. I don't know how many videos I've uploaded now. 520 odd videos that I've got on my channel, and yeah, I mean I've taken some down, so I don't know. I've done a load of videos anyway, but yeah, it's not always about how long your channel has been going, but about how active you've been and how many videos you've made and how often. Do you want to have regular stuff? Do you want to do live shows? You need to make sure you've got a good internet connection. There's nothing worse on a live show than having crappy audio and visual. I click off straight away. I've got to see what they're doing, and if they show you a fuzzy model of something, it could be anything, couldn't it? I've got to see what it is they're showing me, and I like to be able to hear what they're saying. And it's good to have it a little bit organised, just slightly, so they're not all talking over each other at once. That's quite annoying too. That's if you get into that aspect. But one good thing about doing a live show is it can upload straight to YouTube after. You haven't got to render it, it'll do it straight for you, so that's kind of good. So sometimes I think I might do this kind of thing as a live thing. I've done them live before, I've done live chills, and it's handy, it's a time saver. But yeah, just build up your equipment as and when you can. Get yourself a camcorder. It's a good start, or a webcam. You can do a lot of stuff with a webcam. And you don't need the most expensive equipment out there. Get yourself a USB mic, lapel mic, and they're not very dear, and you're away. And then later on, you can build up stuff, tripods and extra LED lights and all that kind of stuff. And you know, it will evolve. You will evolve over time. Cool, that was a long one. And the last question, you'll be glad, folks. I hope not, but anyway. Okay, RXPXD says, another great P&Q, mate. Thank you. You did pronounce my name right. Can also be called RPD for short, smiley face. Okay. If you worked at GW and was tasked to bring out a new army, what would they be like and what would you call them? Oh, wow. I do remember the question when I first saw it, and it's funny because I sent a question into Matt Sit and Talk a year or two ago, a long time ago now. Said, do you ever think GW would ever bring out a new army? And he said, no, I don't think so. No. But they did, obviously. They have done since. There was only 19 armies on their thing at the time. There's 20 odd now. Anyway, I digress. New army, what would they be like and why? They'd be little green men. Well, but they wouldn't be thin green men. They'd be small and slight, but they'd be a cross between dwarves and elves. Called them dwelves. Yes. Dwelves. And they'd have gribblies as well, which would be like the grots of the orcs. They'd be the same sort of thing, but they'd be called gribblies. They'd be dwelves, and they'd be big, muscular build, but short. Sort of like a squat, but a bit more muscular and sleek. Technology-wise, they wouldn't be the most advanced, but they wouldn't be primitive either. They'd be okay. They'd be on par with Space Marines, I think. They'd have their own type of armour, but they wouldn't be vulnerable out of it. But they'd be green-skinned, like the little green men. Yeah. Dwelves. Anyway, that's all I've got time for this week. Thanks very much for commenting and leaving your questions and comments. Please continue to do so. I love this series. And I will see you on the next video. Remember, raw brushes lead to war. Bye for now.